In this video I want to talk about knockoff style watches, watches that are clones or replicas of real watches that cost, well, quite a bit of money, to be honest. It's odd in the day and age that we live in now that you can buy a smartwatch for anywhere from $50 to $200 that can do anything. That can You can read your text messages, emails, you can look at the weather, temperature outside, the time, the date, your heart rate, all these type of things that a normal watch that you go and purchase that's not a smartwatch will not do, will never do, but you're still going to pay anywhere from, for some of these watches, $1,000, $500 for some of the watches that you're looking at. So what I wanted to do is I actually purchased a couple of the knockoff watches and wanted to compare them to the real thing. So let's start off with the Sun 2 Core all-black military style men's watch. The Sun 2 Core is an ABC watch, which means that it features an altimeter, a barometer, and a compass. Obviously, we know what all three of those things do. So lots of features built into this watch. There's a countdown timer, stopwatch. Again, your barometer is going to help you determine weather. It can track weather. It can graph the weather. There is a depth meter on it. The bezel rotates. It gives you sunset, sunrise times, alarms, dual alarms, daily alarms, snooze. It does have weather memory. It does give you weather alerts if there's a storm approaching, things like that. Nothing that a smartwatch cannot do. And this watch retails on Amazon for $175 and has an average score of 3.9 out of 5 stars. Now let's look at the clone version of the Sun 2 Core. This is offered by OTS and or Paleta. Both are offered on Amazon for anywhere from $10 to $24. The watch looks exactly the same. Now this is a Japanese quartz movement. Quartz movement is known for its accuracy. There's very little variation with quartz movement. Of course, you're still going to have your display, hour, minute, second, week, date, and month. It's got a 12-24-hour format, military time. It's got a chronograph, which is a stopwatch. It still has an LED backlight. It still has the negative display, just like the Sun 2 Core. It's waterproof up to 5 ATMs, which is 50 meters or 165 feet. That's deeper than the Sun 2 Core offers. It also has an alarm function, and it's of course shock resistant. Looks, again, very similar, but let's go into the actual measurements of the bezel and the crown itself. So as you can see from the measurements, the clone is actually has a larger bezel, it's thicker, and it weighs more. So the clone actually has a more robust feel to it as compared to the real Sun 2 Core. In my opinion, that makes the watch feel and look better on your wrist than the actual Sun 2 Core itself. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Casio GShock Mudmaster. This is the GWG-1000. This is a Japanese movement watch, so again, it's going to be very reliable with very little time shift or time variation. It has a 200-meter water resistance. It's designed in every way to withstand harsh environments. It has a vibration-resistant structure, has a digital compass. This does have a triple sensor, so you do have the compass, barometric pressure, altitude, as well as temperature readings. It has a double LED light to illuminate the face and the digital display for very good, outstanding reliability. It has a screw-in crown, so again, that's going to resist getting any kind of mud, water, any kind of moisture inside this watch altogether. It's a multi-band 6, which means this watch is atomic, so it will adjust time settings based on reception from one of the 6 calibration signals around the globe, from Japan, China, United States, England, and Germany. So a very tough, very reliable watch. The watch retails on Amazon for $600. It has a rating of 4.6 out of 5 stars. And this is the clone by Smale. That's S-M-A-E-L. Again, this one is quartz, Japanese quartz movement, very accurate, 12-24-hour format, military time. The display has your hour, minute, second, week, date, and month. It has a stopwatch, an hourly alarm, and an alarm clock, or an alarm that you can set for daily. It has an LED backlight, and it looks, I mean, again, you're looking at a watch that is extremely similar as far as the two and their outward appearance. Obviously, this is not going to have all of the extra features and the things that the Mudmaster can do and are capable of, but it looks the same. So let's compare the two as far as the size of the crown and bezel. Kind of what you would expect here. The Mudmaster clone is slightly thicker, but the case size is slightly smaller. Weight is almost half that of the actual GShock Mudmaster, which is to be expected considering everything that is going into and everything that makes up the Mudmaster and makes it what it is. So the next watch I would like to discuss is the Casio GShock GPW 1000. This watch is very similar to the Mudmaster in that it has the GPS time adjustment, so regardless of where you travel throughout the world, regardless of whether you're switching time zones or whatever, this watch will automatically adjust your time without you having to do anything. It has triple G resist, obviously being the G-Shock watch, so it will stand the shock of three forces: gravitational, centrifugal, and vibration. Unmatched toughness that you will only get from G-Shock. It has an electronic crown, so you can use it uses multiple motors to combine and enable conflict-free simultaneous operation of multiple functions, smooth switching between those functions. The fact that it's solar power ensures that it has stable operation even when you're using the really power-hungry functions. Beautiful watch. So again, now we're going to take a look at its clone. So this watch is also made by Smail, that's S-M-A-E-L. On Amazon, the watch lists that it has shock resistance. I'm not sure to what degree that is. It is Japanese quartz, dual movement with an analog and digital display. Water resistant to 165 feet. It is suitable for swimming and swimming underwater. It's a mineral dial window, so it's extremely hard. It says that it's pressure tolerant. Other than that, it's basically the same watch that you've seen on the other clones. What we're going to do now is take a look at the bezel and case and compare that to the real thing. So on this one you can see the clone is thinner, the case size is smaller, the weight is almost half that of the real thing, so exactly what you would expect here. The clone is going to feel cheaper, it's going to be smaller in size, but again, very similar in the aesthetic overall look. So out of all those watches, you're probably looking and saying, well, which one do you wear? What do you think about them? Well, this is the OTS. This is the Sun 2 Core replica. As you can see, there's a little bit of fading around the ring of the print. So nothing is actually, stamped in there. The print has faded. But I've had this watch for 2 years. I use this watch just about every day. I swim with it. I have a saltwater pool. Go out there with no problems. I've taken this watch in the ocean several times. It has a good size. It has a good weight on my arm. I think that the display is legible. It's easy to read. The light lights it up very well, as you can see. So I'm pretty pleased with this one. So these are both Mudmaster clones. I got the one with the orange band. You can see here. Again, looks great. The watch looks wonderful. Packaging is okay in a tin can. The buttons look good. They press with good feedback. Again, the watch looks good. The band looks good. Everything is very heavy duty. It feels good on my wrist. I think that it has a good size. It's not too big. It's not, I don't like small watches. So this one again looks good on the wrist. And here it is compared to the Sun 2 Core clone. Again, looks really good. I also got the beige, or the flat dark earth colored band. So I'll show you what that one looks like here. So there you go. Again, very similar. What's odd is what's written on the side is different. Even though they're made by the same company, the beige one says water resist, the orange says mud resist. So if you look at the band, you'll see that it says triple resist. Sorry, my camera doesn't focus on this here, but it says triple resist, multi-band 6, which refers to the GPS signal in the atomic watch function. And then the last thing that it says there is tough solar, which none of that is true because this is the clone. So I just find it odd that between the two, even though they're made by the same company, they're the same clone, the bands say something different on each one. So I'll show you the light function here. You'll see what lights up and how it lights up. You see the time, seconds, and then where the red arrow is in the upper left is where the day is actually shown. Finally, we'll take a look at the GPW 1000. This is the last watch that I kind of touched on. Again, it looks good. The display looks good. To me, it's a little bit hard to read any of the digital readouts on this one, even with the light on. It's really kind of difficult to read what is there. The bottom right slanted is the seconds, and here, I'm sorry, I'll show you the side. And the buttons are kind of, they blend in. You can't really see them. They just kind of blend into the watch crown and bezel. But again, the watch looks good. What's printed around the edges looks good, and it's a big watch. You know, here's the Mudmaster clone right next to it. It's just slightly bigger, not by much. And actually, I kind of think the Mudmaster looks a little bit bigger, but according to the specs, it's not. So let me go ahead and put these on for you so you can see what the difference in what they look like on my wrist. So here is the GPW 1000. Again, it looks good. I don't think it's too big. It's approaching the too big mark, but it's not too big. And then here's the Mudmaster. So this isn't really a review of these watches. I just wanted to show you what they look like. The clones versus the real thing. And you know, if you'd like me to do a review of each one of these watches, I'd be happy to do that. Just leave a comment below if you want me to take a look at any one watch in particular, and I'll be happy to take a look. In the meantime, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Let me know your comments and your thoughts, good or bad, about these clone watches. I mean, everything's coming from Japan anyway, right? So let me know what you think.